One Extra.
DJ Target on BBC Radio 1 Extra, and those that have been listening, well, since I've been in a new time slot, may have been wondering, Targs, you remember beginning of the year when you were in for Mr. Jam for like a whole 6 months, and you were kind of bringing in some of our favourite artists to have in-depth conversations with. When are they coming back? People have literally been stopping me, hounding me, emailing me, DMing me, tweeting me, saying, when are you going to get the in-depths back on the radio? And I told you I was going to do it, and I told you we were going to do it very big, man. This, for me, is an in-depth, is a conversation, is a chat, a catch-up that I've wanted to have on the radio for a very long time, man. I'm very, very glad to introduce Mr. Wretch 32. How you doing, bro?
Start again.
Chase! Bro, it's so good to finally get you here in the studio and have this catch-up, man. I've been looking forward to this.
It's been a while, innit? And we've been speaking about it as well for doing it for a minute now. But I think it's good. It's good. We've got it at the right time.
Yeah.
I even like the colours that you've gone with because of the in-depth. Is that why it's blue?
Yeah, like
the ocean.
Oh, see? Do you know what? I didn't even know about that, but I'm going to run with that. When the next artist asks me, why is it blue? Because we're in depth.
We're in depth. We're in deep right now.
He started with the wordsmith-isms already, man. So, like, with these things, Wretch, I'm pretty sure you've seen a couple of the ones I did with some of the other guys earlier in the year. We kind of just go back as well as looking forward, as well as, you know, looking across your whole career. And for someone like you that's done so much, who is like, for me and for you know, everyone listening, a staple artist when it comes to this UK thing, man, there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot in it.
There's a lot to squeeze in. There's like, we could fill up the whole hour with just your music alone.
We got 24 hours?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think this could be one of the ones that gets broken down into parts, but we're going to give it a go anyway, man. But like everyone else, I want to start at the very beginning, man. I want to take you back to, you know, the early 90s, Tiverton Estate, North London, Tottenham.
Yeah.
Am I painting that picture for you?
The picture's there. I've got it.
What was it like growing up, man?
Do you know what? It's definitely one of the worst estates in Tottenham.
Yeah.
So as you can imagine, seen everything, done everything, and you know, just it's funny because you're almost like a victim of your circumstance.
Yeah.
You know, and you kind of just go along with it until you know better. You do your best till you know better. Then fortunately, I got to know better and I got to do better. Yeah.
And I guess getting to do better was a big part of you coming across music. I guess first and foremost, what was it that you know attracted you to music in general as a kid? Do you remember that early sound or that early vibe that was maybe playing in the house or maybe you were outside somewhere and heard something playing?
Yeah, initially my dad was a reggae DJ, proper sound man.
Yeah.
So my earliest memories of even my dad living with us is speaker boxes all over the house, records all over the place. So I was always fascinated with how I was fascinated with how he knew which records were which.
Yeah.
Because they never had writing on them. They were like white labels, and it's like he kind of knew what song was going to play. And I'm like, do you know or are you just guessing? And he's like, no, I actually know because I can tell you. So that was my first fascination, was how does he know his records so well? And then obviously getting to know some of the songs and then trying to figure out which record was which.
Yeah.
Like as a young kid as well.
Trying to remember which one, which picture, which case, which cover.
Was what, and that was a good, like, interesting game as a kid for me. And then just falling in love with the songs and the feeling. And then a few times he kind of took me to like a christening that he was playing at, or you know, something that he was playing at, whether I should have been allowed to be there or not, that's debatable. But just seeing it at an early age and feeling like my dad was like the most important person in the room because he was controlling it because of the music. So that's definitely an early entry point for me.
So I'm guessing, you know, being around that whole sound system culture, it was a lot of reggae in the air, a lot of lovers rock in the air. Any particular artists or songs that stand out from that era?
Garnet Silk.
Wow.
His tone, what he was saying lyrically, and just how because for me as well, what was important about music back then was not only how it made me feel, how it made my mum feel and my sisters feel, because everyone's in different rooms and we're separated. My dad's in the front room, but then he plays a song that brings my mum out the kitchen, and then my sisters come out their room and they're in the passage singing, messing around, and then I come out my room. And it's like, when you realise that music has the power to almost bring a segregated house together, like you start to feel differently about it. And I think that it's definitely moments like that I've always tried to recreate when I'm making records as well.
Yeah. Great time to play this record, man. Garnet Silk, fill us up with your mercy.
Let Jah be praised while I pray for my blessings to rise.
Wow, Garnet Silk, fill us up with your mercy. If you're just checking in depth tonight, is with the legend Wretch 32. We were just saying while it was playing. I need to be like at a christening with a paper plate in my hand with like a big pile of food on top of it.
Yeah.
That's the vibe, man.
We are. That song there, man. It's just like the feeling of it, like just the texture of his vocal, just how it made everyone feel. And it's funny because, as like we were just briefly talking off air, it's like as a kid you don't necessarily know exactly what the words are, and you kind of freestyle and make up your own, interpretation of what you feel they're saying. But when I got older and I listened to what he was saying their belly's full but they're starving, they have a lot and keep wanting, like as in, be content. You know what I mean? And I was just like, it hit home and it resonated to me, man. It was just like a proper special record in my life, that one.
Some real life lessons in those records as well, man. Definitely. Now, if we kind of fast forward to, I guess when this music thing kind of took hold of you differently, because you eventually wanted to pick up a pen and a pad yourself and start doing your own artistry, start creating, your own music. When did that come along for you?
That was when, so listening to these records and then, later on then getting introduced to like P. Diddy and, Puff Daddy at the time, and just Jay-Z and Nas and just people that were stringing words together on beats, and I don't know, just the fascination never left, and it just always grew. And then I literally just used to any instrumental I could get my hands on. When I kind of figured out that I could stick my earphones into the microphone part on the stereo at my mum's and press play and record on the tape,
and you could just start
and then
record,
and then you could record. So I've literally got a song with everyone. I've got songs with Michael Jackson, Tupac, everyone. Any 8-bar instrumental that's left open, I've got a verse on.
In there.
I was in there. I was on it. I'm on the song. Bring it to school. Listen to this. I got a song with da 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 da. Like,
you'd actually like announce it, like you got the official. Like,
they knew it wasn't official. It became a joke, innit? But it was just like, listen to this one. This is me and Mike, like,
sick.
or whoever.
Do you remember any of those real early bars or anything that you put down?
Nah, I wouldn't even want to, man. I wouldn't even want to target. And you know what's funny? When I feel like I'm speaking about this and someone's going to have a tape somewhere.
Yeah,
be like,
like someone's going to be hearing this right now. They're going to be like, wait a minute, let me go in that old rucksack from like yesteryear.
Bro, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Crazy. I know Tupac was also quite a big influence, man.
Legend.
Yeah.
I realised that I always loved the artists that carry the most feeling in their songs.
Yeah.
Whether it's doesn't even matter what it's about. Just if I can feel what you're talking about, if I can feel passionate about it, that's who I gravitated to. And Tupac was like he's one of the most passionate artists in the world. I doubt there'll be many more.
Without a doubt, man. Like you said, his music, when you heard it, it did something to you internally, like it almost touched your soul. And records like this, man, classics.
Hey, I ain't mad at you.
Wow, another huge classic. Tupac, Ain't Mad at Ya, and Wretch 32 is in the building. That's an early inspiration. I think that inspired everybody who heard it, whether or not they knew or not, man.
Because especially what I like about songs when they're by a rapper and they sound like that and they feel like that, is that I feel like rap, they just assume you're just stringing words together and there's no feeling and there's not much thought behind it. But with that record there, everybody has to feel it.
Yeah.
Like my mum can say she's not into Tupac. My gran can say she's not into Tupac because she heard a lot of the aggressive sounding stuff or whatever. But when they listen to that song, they have to say, you know what, he's a talented musician. Yeah. And I love songs like that. I put into perspective like that.
Without a doubt, man. It's in depth tonight with Wretch 32. So much to talk about. We haven't even got into, when your career actually took off and lifted off. We were kind of at the point where you were just starting to put stuff together yourself. Yeah. Jumping in on little 8-bar loops, gaps in all of these big, massive tracks.
The biggest artists in the world, bro.
It's like
don't underplay it.
But you know what? Like, to be fair, that was like, I feel like that was good training because you were literally like jumping on features with like, even though they were kind of self-made features, you were jumping on tracks with Michael Jackson or
had to
in
kill
the
it.
Tupac. You had to kill it. So I guess that was like good training, man, setting you for good stead for when you finally were going to do your own thing, man.
Yeah, even the concepts as well, because I'd always hold on to whatever the concept was. So whether it be a girl song, obviously the lyrics will reflect that. Yeah. So I think that was like definitely good training in terms of sticking to a specific concept. Because before, when I'm writing freestyle lyrics, it's just about whatever. I'm wearing a green hat, black trainers, then I go out, then I'm in a club, then I'm somewhere else. Like everything's just kind of sporadic. But when you're jumping on a Michael Jackson song saying rock your world, then you kind of write a song about someone who rocks your world, and it kind of sticks you with the topic.
So really early on, you were getting yourself, well versed with concepts, with moods, with melody, with everything now that you're so acclaimed at. You were doing all that from a real early age.
from early.
Wretch 32, the actual artist, when did he actually come along? When did he turn up?
I kind of, I don't know. So obviously after all the fake mixtapes and the fake collaborations, I kind of kept writing, but didn't take it mad serious. Then I kind of bumped into my mates at the time, Combination Camp, Calabar, Mumbles, Nero, Cell 22 and Captain, and was kind of just like, they were already on Heat FM.
Yeah.
So they were just like, look, man, we've got a crew. We know you write. We know you spit.
Legendary North London pirate station as well, man.
Proper. And they're like, I know you spit. Like, I don't know if you're taking it serious or not, but just come with us and just, let's
see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's just play this by ear. Still writing, carried on writing. That's when I kind of started writing to grime. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were my first grime lyrics, like my first grime entry point. I'm like, okay, cool. This is quicker than what I'm used to.
I was just about to say, how did you find the kind of tempo shift going from, those kind of more slower tempo tracks that you've been kind of practicing and getting better on to kind of 140, and it's like, it's all a bit quicker.
Yeah, it's different because the main difference was a lot of my verses, I didn't write them to music. So I'd kind of just write it out, write it down, and there was no beat, but it would always fit to a rap beat. So this is when the transition was different, because if I ever naturally wrote a lyric, it wouldn't fit on a grime instrumental because it'd be too quick. So I always had to write to grime instrumentals, and I was like, okay, cool, until I mastered doing that, and then I was able to write it without any music.
I remember when I first came across your music, it was learned from my mixtape. It was around those days, man, and you'd be doing your thing in North London. I'd heard your name a couple of times, but that was the first actual CD that I could pick up and listen to. And from that moment on, I was like, this guy is like, he's got something crazy.
Because I remember we spoke. And
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, like it's different. Like there's different concepts, different records, and then we even, spoke about, doing some bits together as well.
Yeah, we had a few studio sessions over at the old Roadie studio.
Of course, notorious.
Yeah, man, and so many people used to pass through in those days as well. And just not too long after that, you were a guest on I just started at this station.
Yeah.
And you were one of my first guests. Did you come through with Random Impulse, or was that a separate time?
I think it might have been Scorcher, and I think Flowdown was here as well.
Yeah, I think, it was in our old building.
It was in the old building, yeah. And I think Flowdown was saying my name wrong. Flowdown was saying my name. I think he was saying Wretch or something like that.
Wretch 32.
Wretch, and I was like, but you thought you heard it, and then he said it again. I was like, no, it's Wretch.
He's definitely thrown an N in there.
Like, there's no N, bro. It's just Wretch.
I want to play a classic of yours, man. There's so many we could have chosen from, but let's talk about Inner the Ghetto, man.
Yes.
This record, even now I want to hear it. I was listening to it last night, getting ready for this, and just took me back to that whole era.
This is Venom at its finest. At its finest. This is like me and one of the best MCs in the world, in the country, in the room together, just trying to take each other's head off. I had the instrumental. I think I got the instrument. So Maniac made the instrumental. I got the instrumental from Risky Roads. Risky was playing me some instrumentals, and I was like, do you know what? I really should take this instrumental and give it to Ghetto. Yeah. But I'm like,
I want in.
Yeah, because it's saying Inner the Ghetto. I'm thinking, this is your song, but you know what? It's my song.
Yeah.
It's my song. So I've had an idea. I've sent it to him. And to be fair, I don't think he was completely sure of it until after we'd finished it and everything was pieced together, and he was like, nah, do you know what? It worked out. And he said he wouldn't have done it for himself anyway, so it kind of works out anyway.
This any excuse to play this on the radio, man. Wow, like you said, Venom.
And
it's like, this is like pre the kind of culture and industry and the big empire that everyone's kind of a part of. Now this was just like literally some young guys just trying to, like you said, like take each other's heads off on the mic
Man.
in the best possible way.
And he still thinks, to this day, he still thinks he took that. He still
is
thinks
that,
he
is
took
that one of them ones where it's like still up in the air?
Yeah, I'm not giving him that. And I'm an honest guy. I'm not giving him that one. I won't give him that one.
No, you did kill that one. I think I might have to give that one to you, know. I'm
thanks,
not gonna lie, bruv.
Thanks.
So in the ghetto, you know, you was amongst it by now, working with the likes of Gets, working with obviously Combination Camp as well, and the guys. What was next?
So after that era was like the best training you can have.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's still pirate radio, but then we've made the transition to mixtapes, so now people are taking us serious as artists. We've started selling mixtapes. People are buying mixtapes now. They're selling out the shops. We're not selling thousands. We're selling hundreds, but then we do push 1,000. We do push to 2,000 at times. And after that, it's just like, how serious do you want to take this now? Because now it's becoming lucrative income. Whereas before, the dream was, okay, cool, I just want to be able to receive a bit more money than I'm spending.
Yeah.
And then now,
that kind of breaking even was almost like a bonus.
Was a bonus.
And getting some like notoriety in your ends or whatever, and breaking even. That was like, oh, I've done all right here.
You've done amazing.
Yeah.
But then children kick in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then now it's like bills kick in, and now it's reality. Like, if this is what I'm gonna do full time, it needs to pay me like a full time job.
Yeah.
How are you gonna make that transition? And then for me, it was just about consistency, always making songs that I feel were bigger than the place I was at.
Yeah.
Like, if I never put a limit on my songs, and I always saw myself as someone that can get played on daytime. I just always used to say to myself, you'll have a song that's for daytime, and you'll have a song that's for nighttime.
Yeah.
And never feel that either side is less important. They're both as important as each other, and that was always my mentality. So I always felt like I could potentially be a record away from a life-changing, moment in my career.
But having that self-belief as well was very necessary as well to be able to make the transition, because it was around a time, like you said, when, you know, people were selling hundreds, a couple thousand at best, and people were starting to make, and
no venues. You've never done no shows
no
at that
venues.
time.
There was hardly any shows. It was like pirate radio was the kind of only real outlet, and then once the mixtape thing started, it was like you could see people transitioning from being like pirate radio MCs who were like just wanted to go and get some reloads to actually trying to now, right, I'm going to put together a project. I'm going to try and shift some units. Oh, hang on a minute. People are interested. Let me go and do that again, but let me do it bigger and better.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what you were doing when you dropped Retrospective.
Yeah, Retrospective, I was like, okay, cool. So learn from my mixtape. People really understood that this guy has, it's a great body of work, a lot of concepts on there. He's a conceptual artist and he's good at that. But I just wanted to really push it to the next level. So it was like working with producers that I'd worked with previously, but adding new people to the team. And this was like the first time, I don't know if people understand too much about production, but you can get sent a beat, you can vocal a beat and get it mixed like that and push it out. With Retrospective, this was the first time where we were making all the songs from scratch. So we had all the parts.
Yeah.
So when you've got all the parts, you can mute the piano for 4 bars and add a guitar 4 bars after that. So when we worked on that record and we was doing that, I felt like I was doing something no one's ever done.
But you know what, at the time, even when you heard that project back, the quality, the sonics of it, like, and I had to even at the time, because I was producing a lot there myself, I had to really go in the credits and be like, who are these guys? Like, who's Jay Flows?
Jay Flows, the legend.
Like, you were working with like Wizzy Wow. Yeah. I first came across Wizzy Wow via that project as well, and it was like, these guys are sonically just going in, and it was like attention to detail was there from early. Because
at that point, I could identify what I liked about each producer, and I was like, okay, so if I like Wizzy's drums, I like the way Jay Flows manipulates the keys, because he doesn't only play them, he manipulates them. Like he will play it, record that, he will stack another layer on it, reverse the layer that he added on, and then take out single notes. Wow. So whenever you listen to him playing something, it sounds like a sample. And I was just in love with that style. So I was like, cool, Wizzy does the drums, Flows does that. Then can we get like people to come in and play live? Yeah, cool. I know a guy who's a guitarist who ended up playing guitar in my band. Yeah. Come down, he was laying electric guitars, and this was like, I was just like, this is mad. Like, I felt like I was Timberland, like creating this thing.
Quincy Jones.
Some new some newness, and I found a new gear, and that's why it sounded so new at the time.
Wow. Still to this day, man, still one of my favourite classic UK mixtapes, man. Like,
Oh, thanks.
amazing. Like, I feel like it's another great time to play a record that was absolutely getting hammered on the radio at the
Yeah.
time, in the clubs, everywhere. You and Wizzy Wow on Be Cool. man.
Oh, wow, yeah.
When's the last time you listened to this?
It's been a while. I look a lot different hairstyle. Sound different as well, a lot more relaxed.
Yeah, listen, nonetheless, this was a banger, bro.
yeah.
I said forget about violence, I'd rather be cool. I said forget about violence, I'd rather be cool. Forget about violence, I'd rather be cool. I'm space
If you're just checking in, man, and you're wondering, wow, they're going in with the Wretch 32 classics tonight. Of course we are, because Wretch 32 is my special guest for tonight's In Depth. That's another one that's just like, still sounds so sick.
Yeah, it was. That's Wizzy, man. Wizzy was on some. At that time, he was kind of just like, he's on some space boy sound. That's what
yeah.
he always used to say. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm just on some space vibe, man. Some space vibe. And I was just like, what you working with? He's like, he's just messing with some different plugins, different sonics. And he started, playing me that record. And I was just kind of like, I don't know nothing that sounds like this.
Yeah.
So I know that that's a good thing. Then what do we need to do? So we go studio, start working on it, and then we end up with Be Cool, and everybody loved it, man.
It was crazy, that whole project, like I said, just for me, just up your, like, up to where you were, because until then, you were doing your thing, gaining respect, gaining momentum, but that project and that record, it was like, wow, okay, right. Like, he's on it. He's
Bit
being
different.
prolific, yeah.
And it's mad, because even listening back, it's like I can hear, because I feel like music is one big learning curve until you stop.
Yeah.
I think you always learn, even the day before you retire and stop making music,
Still
you're learning up
yeah.
to that day. So even now, listening back, it was like, okay, cool. When I heard that record, I was like, I see this as the club tune. So I felt like vocally I had to attack it with a lot more energy than
Yeah.
I normally would.
Yeah.
But now listening back, I'm like, that's not necessarily the way I needed to do it.
Yeah.
But I needed to do it like that to know that today.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah,
so
yeah.
It's
It's all trial and error,
yeah,
man.
it's trial and error, man, and it's a beautiful thing, and I'm happy that there's a history that's online and documented.
Yeah,
man.
like it's so good to know that people can now go online and search these tracks and search the history, and for those that haven't maybe done that, that's why we're kind of doing these in depth, to just put it all together, man, and package it up and play some music and have a good old chinwag.
Have a chat, yeah.
Exactly.
Because people always find you at different dates, man.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like we were saying earlier, I was talking to a kid in a barbershop today who was literally like, yeah, man, I've been listening to you since you done that track with Stormzy. Like, and I
Yeah,
think he's
you're
talking
like-
about the Festa Skank remix, and I'm like, bro,
which is in terms of things, literally the other day.
the other day, yeah, and I'm like, you've missed about 10, 12, 11, you missed a long, you missed a decade, bro.
It's like kind of starting like Game of Thrones on season 6.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
Game of Thrones is sick. Like, yeah. But like, really, there's a lot to catch up on, man.
Gotta go back.
We're trying to get through as much as possible tonight, and it wasn't too long after that project that, the movement,
Yeah.
which is still one of the like most formidable when it comes to lyricists, when it comes to rappers, MCs, whatever category you want to put you guys under. You lot were like, it was almost like, I said this to Getz when I had him in before, it was like almost like an unfair, like when people always pick Barcelona on FIFA. And you're like, stop picking Barcelona because you're cheating. It's basically, you're not cheating, but you're like, you've put all the best players. So like, as far as lyricism,
Yeah.
that's how I saw the movement. It was
Yeah.
that's not really fair though.
and that's exactly what it was about, man. It was just us about. It was just us trying to always sharpen our sword, man.
Yeah.
Our lyrical sword, of course. We just all wanted to be the best MC in the country, and it was like we realized that's our common interest. That's our common ground. Cool. Let's always be in the room. And I respect everybody else in here, like they're, on my off day, they're better than me.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And because we all feel like we're the best. So we kept each other on our toes, man. And I don't think there's, as an MC, there's not better training, man.
No.
Like going in a room with them 4 lads, like every day is why I am, how good I am today. Because the training was immense, man.
I say this a lot, and there is a kind of a different path almost that artists take today, like that what we're calling training, where you were in a live environment, whether that be on the radio, on a set, in a show, and being next to MCs that were so ferocious, that were so like, you had to be match fit, you had to be like on point, you had to be coming with new bars, you couldn't be messing, like that training doesn't happen as much anymore
It
because our
doesn't.
artists are more like, I'm making a track, the track blows, they're straight to the stage, like,
Straight,
without so much of the training. So like those days, I think that's why there's been so many artists and MCs and rappers that have come from that era that are still here
That was
killing
still
it today.
hanging, the test of time. Because even like pirate radio is mic control, and that's like memorizing your lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, going back to back in the studio is like, that's just being on point and being ready to write every single day. And then you leave the studio and you go to buy some food, and then someone whips out a camera. Yeah, I'm doing a DVD.
Yeah.
Let me get a verse from you
Probably
like
me.
now.
Or Risky
or
or
anyone.
anything, yeah.
But now you've got to have a separate verse that you didn't use on the tune. So that's just, now you always have to be prepared in advance. Where now it's different because you can, you know, if I'm going to do a fire in the booth, Charlie don't ring me on the day.
Yeah.
Like, I already know it's in advance, so
yeah.
I've got time. But you never had time.
It was almost like fire in the booth almost every week.
Every week,
like,
yeah,
with
yeah.
other MCs trying to take you out while you're doing your fire.
the fire in the booth, literally standing beside you.
Crazy. I want to bring it up to like end of 2010, start of 2011, when, you know, another chapter in your career came along. You signed a deal.
Yeah.
You of course dropped another huge record that was originally, I'm assuming, just to kind of do that same, like, follow the paths of Be Cool. Like, that's gonna be my club record.
Yeah.
And Tractor literally just took over the whole country.
They done something else, man. Like, and that's the wickedest thing about music, man. Like, you make a record. I remember Twin B, so that's my A&R, Twin B and Richard Antwi, rest his soul. That's the label I signed to, Levels, who had a subsidiary underneath Ministry. And Twin B's like, look, so I've got this record. Don't know how you're going to feel about it. I'll send it to you in your email. He's always funny about sending me stuff. He's like, I want you to come to the house, but I'll send it to you. So he sent it to me. I'm listening to it. And do you know what made me know more than myself? My son.
Wow.
Because kids, they have this thing about music, and there's some specific science about it, that there's some 3-second repetitive rule thing that kids always notice, and that's why nursery rhymes are so popular and so remembered. I'm just watching the way he's reacting to this beat, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, there's something in the beat, man. Yeah. There's something there. So normally I would have just quickly, wrote some verses or whatever, but I really sat down and I was just freestyling the verses and freestyling the pattern more than anything. And I was just like, how would a dancehall artist attack it? Because obviously Jamaica and reggae and bashment is in me. So I was kind of like, okay, cool. A little slur. Okay, with my punchline. So the miracle look me in my eye. No. I float, and it was just the melodics of it. So then when I vocaled it and sent it back to him, he was like, bro, you nailed it. This is going to be a life-changing record for you. And I was just like, whatever. I've heard that 1,000 times by now. Every record was life-defining, and it definitely was.
Yeah, crazy. I guess they were kind of right with that one.
They were correct, man. They were correct.
It kind of did change things, man, a lot.
Do you know what? Like, it's so weird because I know you know it yourself. It's like you make something and then you give it to the people, and then it's like the next day you become Stevie Wonder.
It's
and
crazy.
It's like you're walking into rooms that you've only seen the outside of. You're standing on stages which you've only seen on TV. You're getting played on radio in the daytime next to artists that you've listened to all your life, and nothing can prepare you for that.
Yeah. Especially when, as far as you're concerned, you've been doing this, you've been building, and it's like a click of someone's pressed a special button. It's like
magic.
Yeah,
literally. And then the for me at that time, I struggled to come to terms with the fact that some people were coming up to me and were literally just like, you're the Tractor guy. And I'm like, nah, I'm
so much more than that.
I've had 7 years from of 8 years before this record. Like, this is, but then it made me realize this is my first entry point through the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
So I'm on the other side of it now. Yeah. So then now you kind of want to maintain both sides of the fence now, because you want to continue to feed the underground, because you don't want to go too, you don't want to go too far. And then but you're up there and you want to go further, because now I'm standing on this stage and I'm saying, wow, I'm Radio 1 Weekender, or do you know what I mean? Or One Extra Live, and this person's headlining. I want to headline. If I get 6 more songs or 5 more songs that do what Tractor done, I can potentially headline this show, and that's where I want to be in terms of my career. So it just kind of, had you at limbo, but then for me, I'm just the ambition in me kicked in, and I was just like, cool, I'm not no one hit wonder. I'm gonna do it again,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna do it again, and then I'm gonna continue to do it.
And you did just that, man. You continued to do it, and the debut album. I say debut album. I still look at retrospective. Like
Yeah,
for
that's
me,
the
like
debut.
I'm like that's the debut.
Yeah, that's the debut.
You know, as far as now being through that glass ceiling and being amongst that mainstream audience, Black and White was probably going to be their first time taking you in the body of work, and it's an amazing album, man.
Bro, it was
3 top 5 singles.
Yeah.
You know, you did over 1 million records in 2011.
In total, yeah.
You were on the BBC Sound of Pole. You were on the MTV new list. Like you were like, it was literally the start of Wretch 3-2 season. It'd begun.
I remember I used to be worried about the list as well, you know, because I was like, this is just some mad pressure. Like, you know, like when you look at everyone else on the list and you're like, whoa, these people are either some big names, but took it with a pinch of salt, man, and just kept my head down and done what I do best, and that's make a record, man.
Yeah, and this, another one of those records that was a huge hit in the UK, Don't Go.
Woo!
Massive. Wretch 3-2, Josh Kumra and Don't Go. Where is Josh Kumra these days?
Josh is in Swindon, man.
Wow.
Working, he grew his hair and he stayed at it, man. He stayed at it. But you know how it goes, man. Literally, like, once a record of yours has gone to number 1, nobody wants to see nothing go to number 2.
It's a blessing and can sometimes be a curse as well, man.
Of course. And, you know, some people are going to be able to rise above it, and some people are, it's going to affect them. But Josh is mad talented. And somebody like that, there'll be a record and he'll be like, come back and he'll be like, that was the guy that was singing Don't Go, and it's going to bust up the world, man.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
Right, we're speaking about, you know, Black and White and how that positioned you, like cemented you. Because like you said, you had Tractor, you didn't want to be this guy who had the one hit, you followed it up, you were relentless with it, unorthodox with Example, we played Don't Go, there was a whole bunch of hits off of that album, you were doing the festival tours, you were doing your own tour, like things were like literally being solidified.
That's the real transition. You know, like everything you wanted when you first picked up the pen, writing those lyrics with Tupac and writing them lyrics with Michael Jackson, this is what it was for. So it's like now when it's here, it's keeping it.
Yeah.
This is the next, you know, constant voice that's in your ear. Like, how do you keep this?
Yeah.
How do you keep this? How do you keep this? And that just made me, I didn't, bro. Like, you see, between 2011 and 2014, I had no sleeping pattern, bro. I had no sleeping pattern. And I think when I look back on it now, I think it was in fear of losing
what you had built up.
What I had just built. I had no, bro, you could ring me. You know, like some people have a cut-off point, like you can't ring him between 11 p.m.
ringing him. He ain't going to be about after 12.
Or he ain't going to be awake, bro. You could ring me. There wasn't a time you couldn't ring me. Probably between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m.
Wow.
Up. If I'm not working, I'm thinking. And if I'm not thinking, I'm listening and always trying to learn and always trying to get better and just trying to stay active, man.
Wow, man. And, you know, you were working to an album that I eventually dropped in 2016, actually. Like, we were kind of looking for it, and it was like glimpses of your next album were popping up, and you had a couple of big singles as well. How much has fatherhood influenced your music career? Because I know with Growing Over Life, even with the front cover and whatnot, and even you've always got tracks, you know, referencing your children and how much they influence you and mean to you, man. How much has fatherhood really impacted your career?
It's changed a lot, man. It's changed everything, because now I feel like it's not, my catalogue only don't have to represent me and my management and my team. It has to represent my children.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to put nothing out that I don't feel my kids could be proud of as well. So that adds that's another elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's another elephant in the room. And my son's a big boy now. He's at secondary school, so I'm very conscious on what I say and what I rap about. Very, very influenced. So yeah, but they've definitely changed it for the better, because I've also made records about them, and people really connect with songs like that.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And you know, as just a father as well, like I think it's very inspirational to see, you know, like that positive input and output you take from having a family as well, man.
Do you know that one of the best things that happened to me this year? My son was asked at school to write a short piece about someone he admires, and he chose me. And what he wrote, he was just like, he admires my ambition, and that when I started out, I never had any fans, and I kind of built it up. And reading something like that from the person who you're doing it for, is almost like
that's another number one right there.
Yeah,
man.
that's like, another number one. Yeah, that's platinum to me, and that's the pat on the back that I done it for, and I got it. So yeah.
Also as well, man, from growing over life, my mum's still my mum's favorite record. Like every show I do, she might text me and say, "Can you play that Wretch record?" Like, and my mum like it's not her age group's thing, but she's across like everything that we do, like all the artists, she'll text me about a new artist, a new track, and like literally 6 Words has been like her favorite record since it came out. Like nothing has surpassed it yet. I've not heard her say like she's got a new favorite, man. That's a record that touched people all over the world.
It's a special song, man. It was made at a special time. As you touched on, there wasn't a release of an album between Black and White and Grown Over Life for a couple of years. I had made an album a year since that. Yeah. Just wasn't able to release it for whatever reason. And then 6 Words was one of the songs that, I don't know, it almost came out of that frustration, but in a beautiful way. Yeah. And I kind of just, that's me like with my Phil Collins hat on and my Chris Martin hat on. I'm just like, I'm capable of writing some different stuff. So why don't you show it? Yeah. And it's like, it's time to show it, because I had the idea to make that song for years. So when I made it and people took to it so well, and people are using it as their wedding song, and that's a wicked feeling, man.
Without a doubt, man. We have to play it. Wretch 32's in for tonight's In Depth. Let's play 6 Words. That's another absolute Wretch 32 classic. 6 Words on One Extra's DJ Target, and I've got Wretch 32 in the building for tonight. In Depth. Like by this point, you know, you'd become a legend. Like people would like. By the point of like 6 Words, it was like everything you had done before was already solidified. You'd been relentless with it, prolific, like inspired a whole next generation of rappers and MCs. Like you would reach that kind of legendary status. Do you feel that now when you're like, I know it's hard to kind of be on the inside and feel that, but do you kind of acknowledge that statement when people say, nah, man, like you're a legend, Wretch?
I feel like the cool uncle. Yeah. Like in terms of like the new artists, but like there are people that you meet and they're just like, look, man, you're legendary, man. But for me, I'm always like, yeah, but what you see what I'm doing next? Like it's always, for me, it's always the next thing. That's the next exciting chapter for me. Always what I'm doing tomorrow. Yeah. So, yeah.
I guess, you know, that constant pushing yourself and wanting to do more is you know, what has led you to become this person.
Yeah. Thinking about tomorrow, man.
And we have to talk about lyricism, because you've been displaying it like ever since ever since those mixtapes that you were putting together where you were jumping on Michael Jackson and whatnot. But as far as lyricists go, like I say this time in, time out, like when you're not around, when you're here, like you're one of the greatest to ever do it. Like literally, bro. Like
blessings, brother.
Across all the different facets of why you would be like this guy, like whether it be flows or wordplay or just everything about what you do as a lyricist is pretty much impeccable, man.
Bro, you know what it is? I'm very hard on myself, man.
Yeah.
And if for me writing 4 lines, that means I thought of 12 lines, and that was the best 4 I could have chosen. And that's just how I attack when I'm writing my lyrics and when I'm writing my songs. So it should always be good, because the other options that I didn't choose were good, but you make it great when you try and better it. You're like, no, you can better it, don't be lazy. And I always think and I think and then I've got it.
You can hear often, like I can as well, especially being around this for so long and having worked with so many MCs and produced and whatnot. I can hear when an MC's got lazy on the last 4 bars. You've killed the whole verse, and I know it was taking you long. It was probably 4 a.m. and like I've heard, I know you've just flung that last line in there.
Like,
we used to call it a 2-2.
And I'm the man, and I'm gonna blow this year.
Yeah,
and it's
done. We know when you've done that. So like the fact that you try your best to never do that, to try and to always be on point. I guess that's what's led you to do 5 fire in the booths as well, man.
Yeah.
Like there's no other rapper who's done 5 fire in the booths. Like it's almost like not normal.
I got the most.
To even be able to pull off 5 fire in the booths. People would take that, like, even if you look at Kano, look how seriously he took his not how seriously he took it, like you haven't taken your one seriously, but like how much of a big thing it was for Kano to do 1 fire in the booth. Like it was almost like you guys had to banter him into actually doing it.
We did.
Meanwhile, like you're
But
on
that's
your
because
fifth.
we're fans, innit? So we wanted to hear it.
of course.
Like we wanted to hear what he was gonna do. But but you know what it is, and when I do one, I'm like, yeah, cool, that was better than the last one, but now go back and top it if you're cold.
Yeah.
This is how I talk to myself.
Yeah.
Like, you think you're good, go back and top that one then. And that's just that competitive fire in me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm in the movement on my own.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like 4 of you in the room.
4 of
Like,
me
I
in the
gotta go
room.
against them all.
Yeah.
Crazy. Do you have a favourite fire in the booth? I know the one that you came through with Avelino,
Special moment.
where that was a real special moment. You could even see the look on Charlie's face. Like at the end, he was like, he literally couldn't believe it, and that was when, you know, that benchmark was really set, and he kind of put it out there and said, look, that's the best one of all time. And it was. Like, he wasn't even just gassing it. Like, that was the best fire in the booth of all time. Do you feel like Kano came through it and done himself justice when he came through?
Nah, he definitely done himself justice. But, I mean, that one there was special.
Yeah.
That was special. But and in order for him to even be like spoken about, it had to have been special. Do you know what I mean? So and the sick thing about lyrics is it's gonna be debatable. I'm naturally gonna feel mine's better. He's naturally gonna feel his is better. So yeah.
I think we should play a little snippet of your most recent one, part 5. It's mad even saying that you've got a fire in the booth part 5.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Wow, no less than 5 fire in the booths for tonight's in-depth guest, Wretch 3-2.
Oh yeah.
It feels like we've spoke about so much, but at the same time, there's always
more.
so much.
Yeah.
There's always so much more, man. I wanted to address the track, Open Conversation, and everything that was about, because not only are you someone that people look up to as an inspiration as an MC, but I feel like you've also become someone who reports to the culture very well. You report, you know, what's going on politically, culturally. Like you're a voice for the streets.
Yeah.
And Open Conversation was definitely one of those moments.
You know, the thing is with the real artists, they're sponges, man.
Yeah.
We're just sponges. Like we soak in, we absorb everything. Like if everyone in the room, in the studio is angry that day, you absorb that and it comes out in the record. So with records like Open Conversation, that's just what's going on at the time, and it's happening to people I know. I'm turning on the news, I'm seeing it. I'm on my Instagram, I'm seeing it, and I'm just absorbing all this frustration and all this energy as to why does this keep happening? Why do I still keep seeing this?
Yeah.
And it just comes out in the record, and it's me having an open conversation with myself.
Should play that right now, man.
Ground on me. Can't sing what I wrote you a song that's grown on me. And my treasures are grown on me.
Wretch 3-2, Open Conversation. We are in depth tonight, and we were just again talking while we listened to that track about like your upcoming shows and stuff, like the set list. Like deciding it now must be crazy.
Bro, it's mad. Like London's gone,
It's
but
like a 3-hour set or what?
yeah,
Like,
it's mad. There's still tickets so you can come down, but it's like, what do? Do I open up for myself?
yeah, it's like one of them
Do I-
ones.
do I
You
come
can
out
come
as
out in
le-
3
yeah,
different, like learn from my mixtape Wretch, then like maybe
Shave off my hair.
yeah, like, or like wear one of them things where they wear in a movie, so it looks like you've got
Grow
Crazy.
it back in like 2 minutes, change, go from baggy clothes to skinny jeans. Like, it's mad.
Wow, we all went through the boot cut phase, man.
Oh, bro.
I put up a picture the other day on my Instagram just so people could just like have a go at me, because those the boot cut days were crazy, man.
It's mad.
But to be fair, it was all part of the
It was
passion.
part of it.
Yeah,
It was
all part
it.
of
That was
man.
what it was.
Now I kind of want to bring this up to date before we wrap, because there's been so much that we've already spoke about. But we got to touch on, you know, Young Fire Old Flame with Avelino, which was another mixtape that I think when people look back in time, it's going to go down as an absolute classic. And just like you said, you feel like the cool uncle. I feel like that was definitely kind of like a student teacher mixtape.
Yeah.
Because Avelino shows, you know, so many of your qualities that you kind of were displaying early on, and like it's obvious that you saw that in him, and you guys really connected.
Bro, fortunate to see it and identify with it.
Yeah.
Like, and then being able to act on it.
Yeah.
Like maybe there was people that saw that same thing in me but wasn't in a position to act on
Yeah.
it. Do you know what I mean? But I'm I'm actually in a position to say, little bro, like, I think you will surpass what I do lyrically. So the only way I'm going to help nurture you. Let's work together. Let's work on something. Let's work on a body of work so they hear you with me. You hear us side by side and you understand your qualities. And, you know, we worked on that, happened really organically, released really organically, came out organically, and the people loved it, man.
Yeah, people like literally were head over heels for it.
Yeah,
Man. It
he's a
was like,
talented kid though. Very, very, very talented writer.
super talented, man. I'm loving his latest project, which just dropped as well,
Yeah.
man.
Amazing. 1 in a Million's banger as well.
Sick. Speaking of latest projects as well, like you've left us with no gaps at all this time, because you literally went from Grind Over Life. No, in fact, you went from Young Fire Old Flame straight to Grind Over Life,
Yeah.
and there's been like a year's gap in between. Well, not even a gap. There's been a year between basically Grind Over Life and you drop in
3-2.
your last album, which is out there right now. Another masterpiece from you, man. It's like you come to expect it almost. It's almost like now I listen to a Wretch 3-2 album, I'm no longer like, I'm not surprised at how great it is anymore. You know, like, you're like, well, that's a banger on his album, or like, track 4 is, like, I almost expect it to be what 3-2 was, which was another great body of work, man.
I love that, man, because if I want to be a chocolate bar, I want to be like Frere Rocher.
Yeah, wow.
Like,
That
it's not, yeah, like, you know, like,
that was luxurious.
Yeah, bring that one out at Christmas. It's got the gold. That's the gold
Yeah,
wrapper.
yeah,
Like,
bro.
literally. So I kind of, I don't know, man. Like, I've got this mad quick long story, but I've got this journey of my career mapped out. And it's like, at certain points, I'm very clear of what album I need to release.
Yeah.
And 3-2 is one of them. That's like my middle point. So I'm like, I've always known I'm going to release an album called 3-2 when I was 32.
Wow.
And it was going to be colourful, but I couldn't hear the sonics. So what's exciting for me, it's almost like your mum telling you she's got a present for you when you're 18, and then you get to 18 and you open it.
Yeah.
So for me, opening it is going in the studio, fascinating with what the sounds are, how good I am lyrically now, how can I push it, what can I do that I couldn't do on Growing Over Life, what can I do that I couldn't do on Retrospective, and it's so much.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting. So I'm excited about what I'm going to do next, because now I've got to surpass this.
Yeah.
And it's always a competition with myself, which is friendly, but I just want to make better music and always want to, you know, get progressive.
Amazing, man. I feel like we're running out of time rapidly, but
Yeah.
it's been and always is amazing to catch up, man. Before you go, I want to kind of put you on the spot a little bit. If you were the owner of like 3 gold cards that you could give out to like lyricists that were just like all-time supremos, like, and I think I'm going to keep this in the UK just to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
If you could give those 3 gold cards out, who would they be to? Doesn't matter what era, doesn't matter what genre they came from or what they did, but if you could give out 3 lyricist gold cards.
Oh, man, it's difficult. I'd have to give Getz, I'd have to give Kane, and I'd have to give Avellino.
3 very well deserving recipients, if I
Yeah.
do say so myself, man. If we could play a track from 3-2, what would it be?
It'd be all of it, but if we had to pick one, I'd either say Tell Me or I'd say Fog's Prayer. I'll let you decide.
I think we'll go with Fog's Prayer, man.
Wicked.
Great way to end it tonight. Wretch 3-2, thank you very much, brother.
Pleasure, bro. I'm happy we done it.
No, I think we're going to have to do part 2 as well, man.
Part
You
2
did just
and
say this
3.
is only the halfway point. So we'll have to do this again real soon, man.
Let's do it.